Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into probably the single most important chemical process on the entire planet: photosynthesis. It's that silent green engine that's chugging away, powering pretty much all life as we know it. So, how on earth does it work? Well, let's get into it. So, how do they do it? How does a plant manage to take sunlight, something you can't even touch, and turn it into actual food? That's the big mystery we're going to solve today. And to do it, I want you to imagine every single plant out there as its own tiny, super efficient solar-powered factory. All right, so before we can take a tour of this factory, we need to understand the recipe it's working from. And trust me, this is maybe the most important recipe in the history of life. Okay, so here's the textbook definition you'll see everywhere. It sounds a little formal, right? Photosynthesis, carbohydrates, radiant energy. But really, carbohydrates is just a fancy word for sugars, like glucose. We can definitely make this simpler. So let's just stick with this idea. A plant is a factory, a tiny, solar-powered one. It just pulls in some really simple stuff from the air and the ground, uses sunlight to power its machinery, and boom, it makes its own food. That's it. Now, every factory has to be somewhere, right? It needs a building. Well, for photosynthesis, that building is a microscopic part of the cell called a chloroplast. So let's zoom way in and check out the factory floor. And here it is. This little green powerhouse is ground zero. This is where all the action takes place. Absolutely everything the plant needs to turn sunlight into life is packed right inside this one tiny structure. So if we're taking a tour, you can see how this factory analogy just works perfectly. The outside layer, the double membrane, those are the factory walls, basically security, controlling what comes in and out. Inside, you've got the grana, which look like stacks of coins. Think of those as the solar panels. Then you've got the stroma, which is this jelly-like stuff filling the space. That's the main assembly floor where the final product gets built. And what makes it all work? That's the chlorophyll, the special green stuff on the solar panels that actually grabs the sunlight. All right, our factory is built and ready to go. Now, what kind of raw materials does it need to actually start making things? Let's check out the shopping list for photosynthesis. Okay, so the factory needs just 3 basic things to get started. First up, it needs carbon dioxide, which it just pulls right out of the air. Second, it needs water, which it sucks up from the soil through its roots. And third, it needs the power source, radiant energy, or, sunlight, which those chlorophyll solar panels are just soaking up. Those are your 3 essential ingredients. Okay, so the ingredients are in, the solar panels are fired up. What actually comes out of the factory? What's rolling off the assembly line? Let's have a look at the products. And here's where it gets really cool. The process creates 2 products, and they are both vital. The main product is glucose. That's a type of sugar, and it's the plant's food. It's the energy it needs to grow. But then there's this other thing it makes, kind of a byproduct, that just happens to be what we need to live: oxygen. The plant just releases that back into the air for us. Pretty good deal, huh? Now for all you high flyers out there, let's peek under the hood a little bit. The factory actually has 2 different assembly lines. The first one is called the light-dependent phase, and as you can probably guess, it needs light to run. This happens on the solar panels, the grana, where sunlight is used to split water molecules. Then you have the second assembly line, the light-independent phase. This part doesn't need sunlight directly. It happens out on the assembly floor, the stroma, where the energy captured in the first step is used to actually build the glucose. So 2 stages, 1 incredible process. So we've seen how this incredible little factory works. But so what? Why is this microscopic process so unbelievably important for every single one of us? Well, the impact is staggering, really. This one process regulates the very air we breathe, keeping the oxygen and carbon dioxide levels in balance. The glucose it creates, that's the energy at the bottom of almost every food chain on the planet. I mean, every single thing you eat, every breath you take, it's all connected right back to these tiny green factories. It's the whole shebang. I really hope this helped make sense of this amazing process. And hey, for more study guides and explainers that break things down just like this, you should definitely go follow Mr. Chi. You can find his stuff on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. So go ahead, share his content, give it a like, and subscribe. It really helps keep these amazing learning resources going. So, we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on.
For millions and millions of years, this tiny, elegant little factory has been perfectly turning solar power into fuel for life, and it does it with incredible efficiency and zero waste. So, as we're trying to figure out sustainable energy for our world, what can we learn from its design? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.